Hello everyone, and welcome back to the One T's Verse of Madness. In the last video, we talked about the connections between Yoseng's variants in the spring 2026 season of One T's and their connections to the Lore Diaries and the Bad music video. We also took a look at what the diaries say about the origins of Sopro and its release into the world by Wooyoung. Today we're going to be talking about Jongho. Just a note before we dive in, I will be putting a link in the description again to the Lore Diaries Google Doc, as well as to a playlist of all of the videos referenced in this episode. So with that out of the way, let's re-enter the One T's verse. Now, in my opinion, there's two really noteworthy things about Jongho's past life regression. The first is that he was the only member to be a pirate in his past life. The second is that he admitted at the end of the episode that he was not under hypnosis at all and just tried to tell us a good story. We're going to be coming back to his apparent inability to be hypnotized in a little bit, but first I want to look at a much smaller detail in the episode that I think may be a link to the lore. Now, at the start of Jongho's regression, the hypnotist tells Jongho to enter a tunnel. We see some of the other members being told to enter a door, but no one else is told to enter a tunnel. Admittedly, we don't see this same threshold crossing scene into the past life for every single member, and other members could certainly have been given the same guided transition imagery, but if they were, only Jongho's stayed in the final edit. Now, Jongho entering a tunnel is echoed in the Fever Lore Diaries. After the members find themselves in World Z and lose the Chromer, they head to the Strickland dump at the suggestion of the Grimes boy and split into teams. One team go looking for Left Eye, who knows the location of the android's bunker where the Chromer is being kept, and the other team go looking for the Grime girl's stolen voice. In order to find it, they need to enter what Mingi describes as a pile of trash that looks like a cave. Jongho enters this man-made cave first and falls prey to the hallucinatory effects of the yellow smoke. He is saved by Yoseng, who puts his own gas mask onto Jongho in order to clear the effects of the yellow smoke from his system and bring him out of his trance. This scene is then mirrored in the Golden Hour Lore Diaries. And as we discussed last time, Yoseng fell victim to Sopro's emotional control and was forced into his worst memories, his time of imprisonment in the glass cell on the Guardian's Island, and his feelings of complete despair. Wooyoung goes to him, and a flicker of life returns to Yoseng's eyes, but he does not fully return to himself until Jongho puts his headphones on Yoseng and plays him one of their old songs. We also find out in this same scene that Jongho has been under the influence of Sopro the least out of all of the members. Through the influence of Sopro, he experiences the first rush of Wooyoung's joy when the members agree that they all want to make another try at achieving their dreams. And he also experiences the crazy laughter while in his recording studio. He begins playing some of ATEEZ's old music and accidentally breaks himself out of Sopro's control. This is the same technique that he then goes on to use to free both Mingi and Yuno at the cafe. Incidentally, there is a detail that I inadvertently left out of the previous video about Yoseng and his hacker variant, Freezer, in the hunt. In order to free as much of the population as possible, Lord Yoseng suggests hacking everyone's phones somehow, and Jongho then suggests using that link to broadcast music that most people will know and have some kind of personal memory attached to. His choice is Let It Be by the Beatles.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
While Sopro is inside San and everyone is experiencing this uncontrollable laughter, it's clear that their behavior is also out of their control. People are ripping up Hongjun's books at his book signing and doing things like eating the pages and throwing drinks on each other because they all of a sudden think it's funny. Indeed, Wooyoung actually has to stop Hongjun from eating a page that he tore out of his own book. Even though Jung-ho is under Sopro's influence and also laughing at this point, his behavior is not out of his control. He is in his studio since they all agreed to meet there and discuss what kind of music they wanted to make for the future. And rather than behave in a destructive manner like so many others, he just puts on the music from one of their performances in World Z. Now, in my opinion, listening to songs from your back catalog is a perfectly reasonable action to take if you're preparing to talk about the kind of music that you want to make for the future. So, in my opinion, while Jung-ho is under Sopro's influence, his strong sense of self kept him from being fully manipulated by it. And we see this reflected in his performance in the Bad music video. So, one of the things that really struck me from the very first time that I watched this video was how flat and emotionless Jung-ho's performance was. And I was kind of confused by it initially, because even though he's not part of the demon line, Jung-ho is normally very expressive with his voice, his face, and his body when he performs. And if we go back and look at the music videos, starting back with In Your Fantasy, there seems to be this pattern of Jung-ho being deliberately set apart from the members in a way that puts him up above the action for part of the video. So here we see Jung-ho twice up on a balcony looking, the first time surrounded by roses, the second time looking at a red mask, before he drops it down over the railing. But we know that Jung-ho is under Sopro's influence at that point because of the redness in his eye. In the music video for Ash from the Japanese album Ashes to Light, we see Jung-ho in this surreal confessional / telephone booth, perched up on this lonely rock, and we also see him walking and standing up on top of structures while looking down at the ground. In the Adrenaline music video teaser number 1, we again see him up on this catwalk, looking down over the frenetic dance party going on down below, but without really much of an expression on his face, signaling, in my opinion, that he is more than likely outside of Sopro's control at this point. And again, by the time we get to the Bad music video, we get this shot of him singing alone on the roof with this expressionless face and expressionless body, and again signaling that he is no longer under Sopro's influence. Now, let's take a look at Jung-ho's trading card. So his position is absolute core. He has the highest resistance to Sopro of any of the members, and he is the final anchor of the group. He also has the highest overall stats of any member. And I think this really speaks to, again, this strong sense of self that I had alluded to earlier, and the emotional maturity that he has gained since we first saw him punch Mingi at the very beginning of the Lore Diaries. So now all of this brings us back to Jung-ho admitting to not being hypnotized. Like we discussed in the last video, the Bad music video trailer gives us a visual link between Sopro, hypnosis, and the Wanti's past life episodes. And as we saw on his trading card, Jung-ho has the highest resistance to Sopro. And then he is the only member who is unable to be hypnotized in Wanti's. And to me, this feels like too much of a coincidence. So now we're going to take a look at Jung-ho's entrances in the Boy Love and the Hunt episodes of Wanti's.
저 같은 경우는 모범생이 갖춰야 할 모든 것들을 배웠던 것 같아요. 공부만 잘한다고 모범생이 될 수 있는 게 아니니까 또 예의도 배우고 시간을 헛되이 쓴 적이 없는 것 같습니다. 살면서 해본 일탈 중에 가장 큰 거는 딱 한 번 수학학원 5분 지각한 거, 그게 제가 해본 가장 큰 일탈이었던 것 같습니다.
아니 근데 빵을 먹어야 될 것 같은데 내 빵이 어디 갔지?
빵? 무슨 빵?
맘모스 빵.
맘모스 빵?
뭐야 저거?
뭐야, 저기 있는데?
또 싹쓸이야?
뭐야?
자, 다시요. 또 싹쓸이야? 이거?
또 싹쓸이야?
잘 챙겨.
언제 가져간 거야 도대체?
잘 좀 챙겨.
왜 이렇게 늦어, 다들? 빵 좀 줘봐, 맘모스.
먹고 싶으면 먹어.
아, 근데 내가 어제 조금 뭐 좀 털었는데 나오는 게 없더라.
누구 거 다?
Now, there are a few things that I want to draw attention to in these two clips. The first is sweeping. In the Boy Love entrance, we should see Jung-ho carrying a broom and sweeping all of these different surfaces around him. In The Hunt, his name is Sweeper, and he is a master thief. Now, if there's any question about these two things being related, actually very helpfully makes the connection for us.
그렇지.
확실히 우리 싹쓸이가
싹쓸이 확실히
바닥을 잘 쓸어.
확실히 바닥을 잘 쓰는데.
레이저만 안 쓰면 돼.
오 역시. 자 다음 출발해.
미니 가자.
So, what does it all mean? I believe there are two possibilities that I do not think are mutually exclusive. The first is, again, that this refers to his strong sense of self and emotional maturity, particularly since in the Boy Love episodes he's given the name of Teacher. In the Golden Hour Part 1 and 2 Lore Diaries, we see scenes of Jung-ho with the young idol groups that he works with. In the scene that we get in Part 2, Golden Hour Part 2 Lore Diary, a recording session erupts into a fight between two of the young idols. And after he sends the rest of the group home, he then sits down with these two boys and helps clear the air between them and proposes a productive way for the boys to move forward, essentially helping them sweep away their disagreements. It's also Jung-ho's music that cleans away the influence of Sopro from both himself, a large portion of the population, and also Mingi and Yuno. Incidentally, I also believe that his solo To Be Your Light is directly related to this role that he plays in the Lore Diaries and his position as the final anchor of the group. You can almost think of him like a lighthouse for the group, I think, in that way. Now, the second possibility is that this is a spoiler in plain sight for future lore. I find it very possible that any plan to contain Sopro would require some kind of distraction, deception, and or sleight of hand. We know that ATEEZ had been spoiling Bad in plain sight for months before the release without us noticing, and there may yet be spoilers out there that have not paid off yet. The second thing I want to draw attention to is the mention of time. In the Boy Love entrance, Jung-ho says that he never wastes time and that his biggest rebellion was showing up 5 minutes late. In the Hunt entrance, we have Woo-young complaining about everyone being late. While this may just be a throwaway joke relating to how the members are in real life, I do find it interesting that it is mirrored in both entrances. And I think that it is also possible that this could be a spoiler for future lore. But we're going to have to wait for the next lore drop in order to find out. Now, if you stayed with me until the end, thank you so much for watching. I figured out last night that the next video I'm going to be doing is Seonghwa. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you again for watching.